One of the amazing opportunities we had during our years of watching classic television was choosing and then faithfully following our favorite law enforcement shows. Many of them boasted a legendary police officer or detective. Probably the most memorable of that fraternity, and admittedly the most unconventional, was LAPD's homicide detective, Lieutenant Columbo. The character was created by writer William Link. He states that his inspiration for Columbo came from basically two sources. The magistrate, Porfiry Petrovich, from the 19th century novel Crime and Punishment, and the crime-solving Roman Catholic priest, Father Brown, from a series of early 20th century short stories by G.K. Chesterton. The character first appeared in a July 1960 episode of the Chevy Mystery Show. It aired on NBC and introduced the world to a police lieutenant named Columbo. The episode, titled Enough Rope, was a story written by Link and fellow writer Richard Levinson. It was American character actor Bert Freed who had the privilege of giving life to this storied character. Freed wore a rumpled suit and smoked a cigar in his portrayal. Not many of the other familiar Columbo mannerisms were characterized by Freed's depiction, yet the character was still recognizably Columbo. A stage play called Prescription Murder was adapted from the teleplay. It was first performed at the Korean Theater in San Francisco in 1962. Veteran movie and stage actor Thomas Mitchell was selected for the role of Columbo. The production toured throughout the U.S. and Canada. The Link and Levinson writing team chose to adapt the stage play and further develop the Columbo character. Their project was intended as a one-shot appearance in a made-for-TV movie by the same title, Prescription Murder. It aired on NBC in 1968. Due to the success of this film, NBC requested that a pilot be made for a potential television series. They wanted to see if the character could be supported on a regular basis. This led to a 1971 hour-and-a-half film titled Ransom for a Dead Man. The popularity of the second film promoted the creation of the regular TV series. Back in 1967, when the decision was made to develop the stage play into a television movie, Link and Levinson's first choice to play their easygoing homicide detective was singer Bing Crosby. Their original concept for Columbo was a smooth-talking, polished, cultured personality. It's reported that Crosby loved the script and the character. However, he feared that the commitment to the TV series would greatly interfere with his number one passion, which was golf. It was while the character actor Lee Cobb was being considered for the role that Peter Falk got his hands on a copy of the script from his agent. He immediately contacted William Link, stating that he would kill to play that cop. And even though Falk was the opposite of everything they had originally envisioned for Lieutenant Columbo, they had to admit that Falk had a certain likability that translated well both with men and women. NBC and its writers initially did not want Peter Falk in the role. They forced Link and Levinson to fight for him to get the part. The writers felt that he was way too young to be playing a police lieutenant. It was the director Richard Irving who finally convinced the writers that Falk could pull it off even though he was younger than what they had in mind. The series' original run was not an hour-long episode each week, but a 90-minute spoke in the NBC mystery movie Wheel. Initially, Columbo aired every third week, rotating with McLeod and McMillan and Wife. This actually suited Falk and the producers perfectly. This pace of production would be slower than the weekly series. The 90-minute program allowed for each episode to be more intricate than a weekly one. The series premiered on Wednesday, September 15th, 1971. Columbo was an immediate hit in the Nielsen ratings. Falk won an Emmy Award for his role the first year of the series. Incredibly, he won a total of 4 Emmy Awards for his portrayal of Lieutenant Columbo. When the show was renewed for the second season, NBC wanted the lieutenant to have a sidekick, possibly a young rookie cop just learning the ropes. The creators hatched an idea of giving Lieutenant Columbo a dog as a partner. Falk was against the idea at first because he felt his character had enough gimmicks already. But when he met the lethargic basset hound that had been plucked from a nearby pound, Falk realized he was the perfect Columbo dog. The show broke away from the traditional murder mystery series by pioneering the inverted detective story. The plots revolved around how a murderer, whose identity is revealed to the audience from the opening scene, is finally ensnared by Columbo's brilliant detective work. Since the audience already knows who did it and how, the intrigue comes from how will Columbo figure it out. The creators call this twist on the classic TV mystery formula a how catch 'em as opposed to a whodunit. The original proposed wardrobe for Columbo struck Peter Falk as completely wrong for the character. To get closer to what he envisioned for Columbo, the actor went to his own closet. He found a beat-up raincoat that he had bought for $15 years earlier when he was caught in a rainstorm on 57th Street in New York. He ordered one of the blue suits chosen for him originally for the series to be dyed brown. Even his shoes were an old pair of high-topped, laced boots. The writers thought that Columbo should have a beat-up car to fit his personality as well. Falk personally chose the 1959 Peugeot 403 convertible after spotting it in a parking lot at Universal Studios. Columbo once boasted that the automobile was rare, stating that there were only 3 in the United States. He actually wasn't kidding. Only 504 of the convertibles were ever produced. In fact, when Columbo returned in 1989, this time on ABC, the network had trouble tracking down one of the cars. James and Connie Delaney from Ohio owned the original car. They were unwilling to sell it back, but they lent it to Universal for the filming. Most people don't know that Steven Spielberg directed the first episode of Season 1. Murder by the Book was the first Columbo episode to air after the show was picked up as a series. Filming was delayed for an entire month, maybe even longer, because Falk refused to give the thumbs up on the 25-year-old new kid named Steven Spielberg to direct the episode. He would eventually watch a few of Spielberg's previous credits, and he became impressed with his work. Once filming got underway, Falk became fascinated by the techniques practiced by the young director. He went on to tell the producers that this guy is way too good for Columbo. Columbo's catchphrase, "Just one more thing," is legendary. According to Levinson, the catchphrase was conceived when he and Link were writing the play Prescription Murder. They had just finished typing out a scene where the lieutenant questioned a suspect and begins to exit. They realized they had forgotten to have him ask a crucial question. Rather than go through the trouble of rewriting the entire scene, they decided to add to the end Columbo returning for just one more question. Great decision. He was often called Socrates in a raincoat due to his questioning style. Peter Falk would quite often ad-lib his character's mannerisms. His fumbling through his pockets of his coat for a piece of evidence or for his notebook, his asking to borrow a pencil, his becoming distracted by something unrelated in the room while in the conversation with his suspect were all intentional and purposeful distractions. Inserting these into his performance was a way to keep his fellow actors off balance. He felt it helped to make their frustrated and impatient get-to-the-point outburst more genuine. Two of the greatest mysteries that surround the series may have been the first names of Lieutenant Columbo and his wife. Over the span of 30-plus years, Peter Falk's character is only known as Columbo. Once in a Season 4 episode, suspect Colonel Rumford asks if he has a first name. The lieutenant responds, "Yes, sir, I do, but only my wife uses it." Columbo referred to his wife dozens of times throughout the 69 episodes, but only as Miss Columbo. Nevertheless, there are a couple of indirect clues that might answer these two questions. In the first season's third episode, Columbo flashes his badge. A still enlargement of the badge reveals that the lieutenant's first name is Frank. It was even more blatant in 1989 in an episode where Frank Columbo was clearly written on an evidence bag. As for Miss Columbo's first name, we have to leave the series to find a clue. At Dean Martin's celebrity roast of entertainer Frank Sinatra, Peter Falk, in the character of Columbo, asks Sinatra for an autograph for his wife. He explains, "Just make it out to Rose." Patrick McGoohan played a Columbo murderer for more times than any other actor, 4 times. Jack Cassidy and Robert Culp each had 3 appearances as killers. William Shatner and George Hamilton each played a killer twice. Some other familiar killers from the show were Leonard Nimoy, Johnny Cash, Martin Landau, Ann Baxter, Faye Dunaway, and the list goes on and on. It's been rumored that Hollywood stars at the time would make requests through their agents to get on the series. Just one more thing. We should note that Peter Falk's second wife, Sheree Denise, appeared in 6 episodes from 1976 to 1997, playing minor to major roles. For us, or anyone for that matter, to say that both the character and the series Columbo were popular is a distorted understatement. The series was once broadcast on over 80 networks covering 44 countries. Steven Spielberg's episode Murder by the Book was ranked number 16 on TV Guide's 100 Greatest Episodes of All Time. The series received numerous awards and nominations, including 13 Emmys, 2 Golden Globes, 2 Edgar Awards for mystery writing, and a TV Land Award nomination in 2005 for Peter Falk. We thank you, William Link, for your vision and creation of the character and the series. And we thank you, Peter Falk, for entertaining us with your perfect portrayal of him. Thank you so much for watching. Please join us next time when we keep chasing the classics.